is there a line that you feel like as an entertainer that you're willing to kind of go to, or do you feel like, you know what, fuck it, I am who I am, and I'm going to speak and speak freely, no matter what it may cost me, literally?
There has to be a balance, because you had, like, I'm a big George Carlin fan, I'm a big Paul Mooney fan, I'm a big Pryor fan. My attraction to certain comics was always the ones that kept it real, 100% and edgy. That was always I love being edgy. Even Cat Williams, the guys that tell the truth, Eddie Griffith, those are the guys I like, and the women that I like to watch, different people. Yeah, there's sometimes, it depends, because you got to remember, when you're a comedian, your job is to make people laugh. That's the thing. And when you have a crowd, especially me, where it's mixed, you got Asians in the audience, you got Indians in the audience, Spanish, white. How am I going to convey this Ahmad joke in front of all these people and make it funny if I want to bring it up? Because you got to be careful. If you're bringing up political issues, there's a fine line between just preaching and not telling jokes. Mm-hmm. So how do I do this? How do I balance that? So like for example, I know I'm going to talk about police brutality. I have police brutality jokes, and I say, hey, all you white cops out there, listen, I'm not saying that every cop is bad, but all you white cops that keep killing all these black men, you are fucking up your football fantasy choices, man. Oh, shit. But you see how you're laughing, though. Right, but it's like, damn, I'm trying. How do I find a way? Do I just go, y'all need to stop killing black kids? Well, there's no joke there. People are here to laugh. So how do I do it? I go, you're killing all your fantasy football choices. You should start killing Indian dudes in China. They ain't that good in sports.
No, don't
Here we
do that.
Go, Denyce.
No, I already did it. I already did it. But no, listen. No, you're not listening. That's part of the joke. I said, you should start spreading it around, like kill other people. You understand? Because they've already killed them. No.
But here's the thing, that I'm glad her eyes went up. Like, the reason I wanted to have you guys on, and Donny, I know you're not on IG that much, but on IG Live, like, Godfrey never goes to sleep. Every night you go to his IG, his ass is up until 5 o'clock in the morning just talking to people, right? Being funny, doing impersonations. And the person that's on there the most with him is Denyce, and their banter back and forth is hilarious, but it's also good because she doesn't agree with everything that he's saying. And Denyce, you have to check him sometimes.
Well, it's not necessarily checking him. Because we just don't always agree on the same things. Just everybody in general, we all have different upbringings. We were raised in different areas. We, have traveled different parts of the world. So we're going to have different POVs of things. But when it comes to branding in this business, being people of color, we're already not forgiven for a lot of things. We're not forgiven for our skin color. So there are things that we have to kind of reword. We have to change the narrative and the verbiage of how we speak. Unfortunately, it's kind of just like in the regular 9-to-5 business world, where as a person of color, you have to work 20 times harder or be 20 times better. And with us, we have to be 20 times more careful with the words that we choose. Mm-hmm. You can't be a complete threat. And someone like Godfrey, who is not only an African-American man, he also has this build, and he has a darker skin tone. He's already a threat aesthetically. So then when you bring in verbiage where you're not careful and you don't say, well, some white people or a handful of white people, they automatically assume he's saying all white people. And then white people will look at him and go, I don't know if we should have him on our show because it sounds like he's anti-white. And what they don't understand is when we do pro-black, it does not mean anti-white. It just means we need to protect ourselves. We need to preserve ourselves because no one else is doing it. And they look at it. And when I say they, I don't mean white people, but because we have to do. We have to do this all the time. But a lot of times, if the people that are in charge, they don't know you, and the people that are there, and you say something like white people like that instead of saying some white people, they can't. Because if white people say they, we assume, well, who's they? We have to be more specific. It's a very sensitive environment right now. It's an entitled environment right now because people aren't just sensitive. They are entitled because they feel like I have a platform and I have a voice and I should be able to say what I want to say.
But Donny, you understand. Sometimes you got to play the game though. You're a businessman. You've been doing this for a long period of time. You understand the importance of actually playing the game, not necessarily kissing ass, because there's a difference. Yeah. But sometimes you got to play the game.
Well, I'm different.
Okay.
I don't play no games.
Okay.
I mean, I just can't play games. I got to be true to myself and have to look at myself in the mirror. So I don't understand the game plan. Either you accept me for who I am, or fuck you. You know what I'm saying?
But he can do that because he's one of the people that makes the decisions. Donny is in a position where he can sometimes be the money man. He's the decision maker. He's the producer.
And he's an independent contractor.
He's the boss,
yes.
right? So he can do that. But when we're in a position of hire me, pick me, we can't do that. And so what I was saying was, it's not about checking Godfrey. I don't believe in checking him. I don't believe in emasculating men, especially Black men. And I feel like when women do that a certain way, it's bad. So I just feel like as a friend and as a fellow entertainer, there are times that I'm like, hey brother, let's bring that back. Let's reword that.
That's a good thing. I love that because
I don't have a filter, and so I've had to learn how to have a filter.
Yeah, she does it too. Listen, it's not like she's correcting me out of.
He doesn't.
I don't do anything wrong.
Right.
We work together and go, okay, this is how we're gonna say it. This is how you say it. It's she's self-reflecting too. So this does not come from an arrogant point of view. This comes from like actually helping me out. And vice versa. That's
me learning from the hard way, because I have put my foot in my mouth several times, be like, oh, let me tell you something, what you're not gonna do. And then the narrative is Denyce is difficult, Denyce is a bitch, Denyce, and I'm like, why? Because you owe me money and it's 3 years later and I'm still asking for my money, and now, or I don't take, the abuse, but
when you're a team, you're there to balance each other out and have each other's back, regardless of the back. You can disagree, you know what I mean, in a real loving way, but at the end of the day, you got Godfrey back, Mike got my back, I got his back.
There it is.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty about the whole situation.
I wish we all did this though. I wish our people did this collectively. Like I'm looking at this screen on top, and I see the different hues of Black people, and we consider each other brothers and sisters, and we're supportive, and you guys put us on this platform to talk, and then you guys have this platform to give to other people. But that is not how many people view all of us. There is the colorism issues, on both spectrums of too light, too dark, not dark enough, not light enough. And when one person talks about it, the other person rolls their eyes. And when the other person talks about it, it's a hair flip. And I
think that bothers me just as much, almost not as much as racism, but close to racism when it comes from us, the colorism aspect, because sometimes racism, and a lot of times, is ignorance. We should know better as Black people. Sometimes we do come in different hues, as you mentioned. And I think that's the problem sometimes. Like, Donny could be too dark. I could be too light for some people. I could be like,
I'm not a real Black woman according to a lot a Black women.
Exactly.
I'm not a real Black woman.
You're not a Black woman. You're Asian. Like Godfrey's not not real Black. You're not one of what did he say? You weren't
a regular Black.
A regular Black dude. You're not a regular Black dude. We separate one another so much, and sometimes you say it in jest. We understand that, but sometimes during situations,
it's not funny.
We take it too seriously, and it is not funny. Just because I'm light skin doesn't make me soft. Just because Donny's dark skin doesn't make him a thug or somebody that's hard. That's not the case. Or menacing, as it's people say with Godfrey being big and Black. That's not the case, and we hate that, and we do it to ourselves.
Yep.